Call the Lamar City Council regular meeting to order Tuesday, September 6th. Would everybody please join with me in invitation to the flag? I pledge the flag.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have roll call, Bev.
Nelson?
Yes.
Knapp?
Yep.
Rexico?
Yes.
Goodchild?
Yes.
Wick?
Yes.
Motion to approve the agenda?
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and second to approve the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I'd like to welcome everyone into the chamber today, and a representative from the Lamar's Daily Sentinel, and particularly you people that are watching over television at our council meeting today. Today we have a hearing, and it consists of Crescent Ridge Underground Infrastructure. At its August 16th, 2016 meeting, the council set this as a date and time to public comment on the plans, specifications, form of contract, and estimated costs of the 2016 Crescent Region Underground Infrastructure Project, which involves sanitary sewer, water mains, and storm sewers. The bids will be received and opened on September 20th, 2016 at 10 a.m. And the staff recommendation is that the mayor will, at this time, open the hearing and ask for if there's any written or oral objections or comments to the project or adopting plans, specifications, a form of the contract, and estimated costs. So at this time, the hearing's open. Does anybody have any comments or written or oral objections on it? I'll ask once again, does anybody have any written or oral objections or comments on this hearing? If not, the hearing is closed. The proposed schedule for this is that the public hearing will be on September 6th, which we just did. The bid letting is going to be September 20th, 2016 at 10 a.m. The consideration of the award will be September 20th, 2016 at 12 p.m., which is our next council meeting. Begin construction date is September 30th, 2016, and the end construction November 30th, 2016. The financial impact of this project will be paid by the following: special assessment to the south side property owners. Number 2 is the sanitary sewer funds. Number 3 is from the water funds, and number 4 is the sewer funds. Project will allow housing development on 6 LBIC lots. Any questions from the council members?
There's 6 lots for sale. If there were only 3 on the MLS. 3 are already sold.
Yeah, 3 or
3 are
so.
already sold.
Yeah.
We're gonna spend probably, what, $1 million by the time this is all done? When you consider the cost of the lots, we know the water and the sewer is gonna cost us $350. Strip of concrete's probably gonna cost us $350. So we're gonna have $1 million in 6 lots that we're gonna sell for $50,000. That means if you spend $1 million, you get back, what, 300? This is not economic development. This is economic debt. And I think we really need to really think about the cost of those lots per lot. Over 100 grand. We'd be better off giving the dang things away, letting them put septics and sewers up there. Septics and wells. That's my comment.
Any other comments?
I guess my comment is, yes, it is economic development. You look at Willow Run, I wasn't on the council when that was. Rex, you probably were. But ran water out there, they ran all the utilities out there, spent a lot of money out there. And I think the tax base is more than paid for that now, really.
It's also on the golf course, Ken. There's a huge difference between that and a dead-end gravel road or a gravel road that goes down to the bottom.
Next to Wells Corporation. You don't think that attracts
It's out
some
in the middle
people?
of, yeah, out in the middle of nowhere.
We will have opportunity for lots on the north side too, when that is ever developed, sold and developed.
there's gotta be some cost sharing going on because this is ridiculous. This is a ridiculous idea at this point in time.
Any other questions or comments? Scott?
Just a couple of points of clarification. When originally evaluated by Slofeld and Pat Pickett is here, if you have any questions for engineering-related questions for Pat. But when we originally evaluated it, it was estimated at $745,000, not $1 million.
Okay?
Secondly, and I can't find my notes right offhand, so I'm gonna have to ad-lib it by memory. We are special assessing the south side like the mayor read under financial impact. Special assessments to south side property owners. And I think from memory, Wells Dairy, representing the corporate campus, has said yes to their assessment. LBIC has said yes to their assessment, and Ken and Dick and John sit on the LBIC board when that got approved. I think they were all in attendance when that got approved. Floyd Fiddler lives out there on the original farmstead that the Winners had, so he now owns that property. He has said yes. Dave Langle that owns the machine shed building, which is really a 7th lot that got platted by LBIC, but it went along with the approximately 60 acres in the back that's farmland. He has said yes. The 8th lot is a lot that the city will retain, which is lot 1 for a stormwater detention basin. And of the 23 or 24 detention basins that the city currently has, the city has historically had fairly significant dollars expended to create those things. This one was created for us, if you will. And when it got platted, it will now stay with the city. So all that being said, we're probably more in the 450, 475, and I can't predict the future, so once we get the bids, both for the utilities as well as get the bids for the paving, then we can talk a little more concretely as to what those final costs are. But I think we're in the 475 to 500 range, Clark, not $1 million. In total cost to develop these lots. And again, I want to summarize, we platted 8 lots, and Floyd Fiddler was not part of that plat, so it's really 9. The city gets to keep one of those as a detention basin. Floyd keeps his lot that wasn't part of the plat. Dave Langle already has a machine shed on 1. 3 have been sold. 1 of those that have been sold has taken out a building permit, and it's under construction.
And if and when the properties on the north side are developed, we will have the opportunity to special assess there also, correct?
As long as you assume that it comes in the city limits, yes.
Right.
At the present time, it's in the county, it's not in the city. But if it comes in the city, then yes.
It's got an agricultural deferral at this time.
Yeah.
Well, I do think that, you know, there's some good explanation there, Scott. It's ridiculous for us to bat back and forth on numbers, but I know that our estimates have constantly been coming in low.
True.
Our estimates have been, number 2, the initial cost of those lots, tomato, because how much actual initial cost do we have in those lots? So, but the bottom line is that it's a huge amount of money. If all 7 lots, and 1 is a street, of which you spoke, if all 7 lots were developed and all of them took advantage of the $75,000 tax valuation for the first 5 years, it's infinity before we actually start seeing any income on this property. It's infinity. So I'm against it, but that's fine. I have a feeling I'm the only one up here that's against it, so that's okay.
Got any other questions?
Nope.
Clerk? Okay,
Motion adopting resolution 16-32 to adopt plan specification form of contract estimate of cost for 2016 Crescent Ridge Underground Infrastructure Project.
Seconds to the motion.
motion made and second. Adopting resolution number 16-32 to adopt plans, specifications, form of contract, and estimated costs for the 2016 Crescent Ridge Underground Infrastructure Project. Do we have a roll call on that, Bev?
Wick,
Yes.
Rex-Winkel.
Yes.
Clark,
Nope.
Knapp,
Yep.
Nelson.
Nelson, yes.
Motion carried. Okay, moving on to general discussion. And the way we handle general discussion is that anybody's got any concerns or great comments about the city, we ask them to stand up to the podium, state their name and address, and the council cannot make any decisions on it, but they're always willing to listen to what the concerns are. And the first one I'd like to introduce on a real positive note is the Vice Chairman of the Lamar's Area Betterment Foundation, Jerry Reardon, because he's got some good news. Jerry?
The first thing I'd like to do is congratulate the mayor, Scott Langle, and this city council for having the foresight to help Total Motors in the bringing of the new Chevy, Buick, and GMC dealership here to Lamar's. That's huge economically for this city for many years in the future. The next thing I'd like to say is Wells promoted and pushed the endowment foundation to $2.5 million from their corporation. I think the Wells family needs to be thanked for their local and participation personally in this matter. Mike Wells and Cheryl Wells, Greg Wells, Dan Wells, Doug Wells, and Gary Wells all personally are given privately to this donation above the $2.5 million. They need to be thanked. They are people that live here in this community, they support the community, and they promote the community. God bless them, and thank you.
Thanks a lot, Jerry. We certainly appreciate those fine comments. The next one is Mike Donlin, who is the heading up our Lamar's Area Betterment Foundation. Mike?
I'll see Jerry's good news and raise him one or two for an update like I've been trying to give off and on and how the progress of our campaign has gone. As of this morning, well, I can back up to the last time I reported. We are kind of tracking ourselves on how we are progressing to match the $2.5 million donation. Last time I was here, was it a month or something? We were 2/3 of the way there, having collected that much towards it. Now we have just crossed, with this and other donations that you'll be hearing more about as time goes on, the $2 million or 80% mark just 1 month later. So that's great news. And one of them is a kind of a striking dollar by dollar story I thought I'd share. As some of you know, our new franchise with Papa Murphy's opened up its doors in early May, and they made a pledge to donate $2 for every pizza they sell on a Friday. So there have been 14 Fridays or so since, and at $2 a pizza, I was getting ready for some kind of nice several $100 check. Judy Pluth came by, and we'll have a press release going out later this week, came by with the check for the pizzas on just those Fridays, $2, and it was $3,300. What a, and some of us looked like we really had a lot of pizza this summer. Some of us look okay. But kudos to Papa Murphy's for that kind of approach. It was creative and it was effective. And Judy also shared that they're going to continue doing that kind of thing on Fridays throughout the rest of the calendar year. The more arduous pizza season is yet to come, and so we're looking forward to more help with the work that Papa Murphy's did. So, with that in mind, though, we did have a donation that we wanted to feature and call your attention to from the Brandt family at Noram Cold Storage. Marissa and Bernie Thomas are here to let us know about the campaign pledge and initial contribution that they have.
Hello, it's tough to follow up a pizza announcement.
It's lunchtime.
Right, we're all hungry. Yes, I'm Marissa Brandt, this is Bernie Thomas. We're really happy to announce that we will be donating, Noram Cold Storage will be donating $175,000 over the next 7 years.
Oh, my
Noram is incredibly excited about the community betterment projects. Lamar's has been great to us over the last 17 years, so we're happy to be giving back and really proud to be a part of this vibrant community. Thank you.
God. Thank you so much.
Well, we're going to stand in front of the Lamar's thing here. Scott, you're going to do a
Stand up
photo op
in
for
front of
us?
the Mars thing, get your picture.
Get his green shirt on there.
Dick, you're going to get in here?
Yeah, Dick's got to get in there.
Which one do we smile at?
I already captured you.
Got it? Good. Thank you.
That's all those zoning meetings were for.
Follow that up with Eugene Glover.
I just want to share with you that here's the kind of people, and here's what the noise is all about. When it comes to volunteers, donations, challenges, I don't care what it is, these people stand up, and a lot of other people meet the goals, Mike, and do exactly what we do. And it's for the betterment of this community. And again, thank you so much, Jerry, and thank you, Noram. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Man, that's a good
It's a good day. It's a good day.
Yeah, quit while you're ahead.
It's a good day in the neighborhood.
Okay, continuing on with our general discussion, Keg, do you have, or Gene, do you have something?
Gene Pluger, 397 17th Street Southeast. I want to thank the council for smoothing our railroad tracks out, crossings. They did a good job. I know you worked hard on it. I had a lot of company in town this weekend, and if you're going west on Plymouth Street, that intersection's getting pretty bad. I was wondering if we're going to do anything with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
This month, it should be started probably in the second week of this month.
What are they going to do to it?
Where the brick pavers are and the asphalt in those, in the pattern, all that will come out and colored concrete will go in.
You stamp it?
No, just colored concrete.
It'd look nice if you stamped it. Go on there, Arizona, they stamp a lot of cement and it really looks good. You know, but it'll cost a little more money. Then the other thing is, when are you gonna stop taking commercial property off the tax roll? Or are you ever gonna?
I don't know as we ever will, Keg.
You know how many you took off?
I don't know as we ever will. Let me finish first.
Okay.
I don't know as we probably ever will, as long as it pertains to economic growth and the replacement, that buildings going up offset the taxes that we take off.
No,
And a case in point, which I shared with you personally, is the total sales program with Motor
well,
Inn.
it was good.
And even though we're taking that building down and taking it off, think of a brand-new building going up at that same location that's worth a lot more money to the taxpayers than the little one. Did that answer your question?
Well, a little bit.
Okay.
How many of them property, commercial deals have had debts against them when you took them?
How many what?
Debts against the property when you took them off the tax roll?
Oh,
Any of them?
I don't think
not to
any.
my knowledge.
I think the theater did to the tune of $50,000. There was a debt hanging over that.
We didn't pay it.
Yeah, that might not be the exact figure. I know the guy floated a loan of 50-some thousand, and then he walked away from it. So somebody had to take care of that debt.
That was Northwest Bank,
North-
when they took it
Well, I mean, the
back.
city bailed him out, though, when you bought the theater.
We paid less than they had the debts at the bank.
You know, you keeping a set of books on the theater?
Yes.
Yep. And
You
Yes.
showing a profit?
Pretty close.
We're not losing any money.
When I go to a movie, there's nobody there.
Oh,
And I get there when the first movie hits town.
I've heard that many times, Keg, but we've also checked into the books, and
Yeah,
the
that's
city
good.
is not losing money on it as far as the Main Street, anything like
What are you gonna do with the old police station?
Good. Well, there's not been a decision made by the council or anybody else, but the talk is, we're probably gonna tear it down and make a parking lot out of it. Because
Yes.
we're very short of parking lot in town.
Well, somebody told me they was gonna rent it out or sell it,
Well,
and that was a councilman.
I think whoever told you that didn't have the facts,
So that's
okay?
what I told him.
That's good, I'm glad you're back to us.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna tear it down and make a parking lot.
Yeah, yeah, and we need it, Keg.
Now, I'm gonna give this to John and let you pass it around after you read it.
Okay.
And then don't say nothing until you're done.
Okay, thank you, sir.
That's what I paid taxes, my taxes in 15 years, doubled. If I'm lucky enough to live another 15, I'll be 100. And I'll be paying $1,000 a month to live in my house. You lowered my taxes a couple of years ago, $90, but then the next year you pick that 90 up plus.
You're talking about the total tax?
My total tax
Total tax.
is doubled.
The check you write,
With the what?
the check you write twice a year for taxes, is that what you're saying?
Well, yeah, they went up 500 some bucks.
I'm not professional on this, but if you take a look at our millage rate that we've had, which is 13.50, am I right?
Close to that. I'm
Pretty
not sure
close.
exactly what it is.
The millage rate didn't change.
The millage rate has not changed,
For a
okay?
number of years.
What changed was the legislature decided that commercial properties were taxed too much and that residential wasn't taxed enough.
You see that?
Yeah, you listen to this, Kate? Gene,
What?
you listen to this?
The,
Just a minute.
okay, that's fine. The state legislature about 3 years ago voted, which affects all the towns, all the school districts, everything. They voted that the commercial property owners were paying too much and that farms and residential property owners were not paying enough. So what they did is they've rolled back the commercial properties. So if you look at commercial properties up and down Main Street, other businesses in town, all their taxes have gone down over the past couple of years. Your tax has gone up, my tax has gone up on my home
Oh, really?
because the farm taxes went up. And we're tied to farm acreage cost. It doesn't, I mean, it's not that we voted to take more of your money, it's the legislature decided to take more money from homeowners and farmers so that they could lower the commercial property owners. And this is going on and will continue to go on for the next couple of years.
Did you read that little deal I had clipped on there?
I'm just trying to tell you the facts.
I know what you're trying to tell me, but I thanked you guys, I thanked John when you lowered my taxes. And what'd you say?
We continue to work to do the.
Well, you do the best you can to keep our taxes down.
Correct.
When they go up and I say something, you ain't got nothing to do with it.
No,
Well,
No,
as I
we
said,
don't.
This had totally to do with assessments, which we as a city are not.
We've got to figure out to get our budget to balance. Otherwise, we've got to figure out how we're going to raise taxes. You guys. Right there, black and white from the paper.
but we,
Tell me you don't have nothing to do with raising taxes.
Anything else you got, Kate? We gotta keep going.
There was something, I can't remember. I got a short memory.
Okay, you're like I am. We're getting older, Kate.
Yeah, there is one other thing.
All right.
14th Avenue. Did you guys put the sewer and water in the street? To that house on top of the hill?
Yeah.
Those were split costs.
they pay for them.
Yeah,
You run a water line up
They
there,
were split costs.
and now you dig a well, the owner. If he can't afford to buy city water to water his yard, I sure as hell can't pay to do mine. What in the hell does he get to dig a well for after you run sewer and water? What's your answer? What?
It's watering the 3.5 acres of land is why we authorize that.
Why is this?
He's gonna be watering 3.5 acres of grass.
So what?
isn't he hooked to the, he's hooked to the
You're in the pro-
water
He's
line?
He pays water and
You're in the
sewer.
business of selling water, ain't you?
Yep.
Yep.
Well, then what the hell you let him dig a well for?
He's hooked up to the water.
I know he is.
The well is for the 3.5 acres.
I'd like to have a well, because that's the best water there is for your yard.
Well, put one in then.
4 years ago, they wouldn't let me.
Oh,
Is that right? Remember when we was gonna put one in, me and Barron Horse? You said, no, you can't. Well, you got a well.
well, anyway, Kate,
The hell you don't.
I hope we've answered a lot of your questions. We've got to keep the council meeting going. Okay?
Share a well down there.
I do not, Kate.
You told me that last time. I went down and checked your neighbors, and they said you dug a well, that you had a well, you share a well.
I do not have a well, and I do not share a well. So don't put
Mike
misinformation
Anthony's got
out
a well,
there.
Jack Ryder's got a well, they share a well.
Yes, they do.
And you do too with Mayrows.
I do not.
Listen to the facts, Kate. Thank
I
you.
went down there and they told me he did have a well. The
Thank you.
neighbors, they share a well.
Gene, you did a good job of calling our attention to
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you. All right, let's move on. Where in the heck we at here?
Thumbs up.
Oh, thumbs up award.
Nothing.
Clark, you got anything?
It's all good.
Boy, confidence, that's good.
Great
How about-
music festival this last week.
Yeah.
People in the community, I heard nothing but positives and then saw them out and about and I thought it was awesome.
Okay. I'm gonna get back to that too, because you're
Okay.
true, you're right. Go ahead, Rex.
Well, he's gone, but we try to answer his questions.
Yeah.
We try to answer anybody's questions that comes.
Yep,
If you're on TV and you want to ask a question, just send us the question, we'll try to answer.
Yep.
That doesn't mean we'll be right, but
no,
we try to answer, and that's a pretty positive thing.
good point, good point. Ken?
Not to take your thunder, but my brother was in town, so we went out to walk around the fairgrounds.
Yeah.
And I actually felt younger.
Oh, I know.
Made me feel good. We stayed an extra half hour because I felt so darn young.
I tell you what, I'm gonna expand on that one too. I've been working with this foundation, or this Lamar's, or the National Country Western Music, for 8 years. And the first year I took that gal that I live with out there, and she hadn't been back since. Speaking of age. No, really, I'll tell you what, this is 90% of the people in this town don't know what's going on out there.
It's just good.
But I'll tell you what this organization does. They start coming in about 10 days before their program ever starts. They run 10 stages out there. They're covered. They love it here because they don't have to walk very far. And they start working in the morning, at 9 o'clock in the morning is when the performers go on. And they run till midnight. And it is organized to the point where they have a manager on every stage that just continue to bring their people on as they come in. This year, there was 450 performers that came into this town to perform, just to perform. That isn't counting the people that come in and watch them or be there. And they're very quiet. I mean, they cause no problems out there. And I'll tell you what, I've heard more compliments, just as Steve said, about the money they spend in this town. I don't care whether it's restaurants, I don't care whether it's the grocery stores or what it is, but they're out spending money in this town, and that's worth a lot. I also heard that I go out there and usually welcome them 4 or 5 times a week. And when you go out there, you need plenty of time. And the reason you do is because they like to talk and visit. And I ran into a couple from Texas. 2 couples were from Texas, and they were the performers out here. And she says, you know, you got the nicest hospital in this town of any place I've ever seen. I happened to be here last year for 10 days. She got sick or something. And apparently it had to do with therapy because this year, she's over there taking therapy while she's in town here. That's the kind of comments that we get. So I am very, very happy to tell you that as near as we can figure out this year, excuse me, they brought in between 20 and 25,000 people in that 10-day period. Now that's a plus, in my opinion, to Lamar's, Iowa. I also want to share with you that the Browns Theater, the great group that we've got right here in town that have just made Lamar's their home, was inducted into the National Hall of Fame out there last Tuesday night. They went out there and played for 20 minutes, and I heard nothing but compliments about them when I went out and said thank you to everybody at 8 o'clock last Saturday night. That's what we got going here in Lamar's. So, Steve, thanks for bringing it up, and the other people for supporting it. Okay, consent items. All items listed on the consent agenda will be enacted by one motion. There'll be no separate discussions on those items unless a request is made prior to the time the council votes on the motion. Today we have 7 of them. Approval of the August 16, 2016 regular meeting minutes. Number 2 is a list of the bills for period ending 8/31/16. Number 3 is a liquor license and outdoor service area from Ironsides. Number 4 is an appointment. Number 5 is a transfer of liquor license to Knights of Columbus. And number 6 is a FAA grant agreement. And number 7 is a library primary county funding. I just want to share with you that on number 4, on the appointment, I have personally talked to Peggy Sitzman about this appointment, and she has consented to do so. So if you people approve it, why, it should be all right. Any questions on any of the 7 that we've got?
Yeah, I'd like to pull 6 and 7 for sure.
Okay, 6 and 7.
6, I'd just kind of like a little explanation as to what it is. If I don't read these contracts word for word, because I'm not an attorney, but just kind of what is it? We're applying for a 90%, 10% grant, right? We're 90. We pay 10.
Yeah, 90 from the government.
The grant is for $60,300. It's from the federal government through the Federal Aviation Administration. It represents 90% of what's going to be spent by the city with Bolton and Mink, the engineering consultant that we hired last fall. We re-upped them last fall. And it's for an environmental assessment study is what it really is. And you have to do it for the FAA to approve any work on the runway. So we're hoping to increase the runway length to the maximum possible under the FAA rules. And in order to do this, this environmental assessment has to be done first. So 90% of it will come from the federal government through our entitlement funds. And what's meant by that is the city's eligible as a GA hospital, general,
Airport.
GA airport, general aviation airport, for what's called entitlement funds. And they're funds that are appropriated by the Congress and sent to us via FAA. And we're entitled to $150,000 a year. And so this $60,300 comes out of a portion of 1 year's entitlement funds.
How long is it good for if the study gets done? I'm just curious. And it sits on the shelf for 2 years or 3 years, or how long? The study's done, how long is the information good? Do they honor it?
Since it's all part of the CIP, the Construction Improvement Plan that we submitted, you approved it last late winter, early spring. I don't remember the exact council meeting, but you just approved it this year. It was sent into the state. So what I put on the agenda for you under the financial impact, FY16, these are federal fiscal years. FY16 would be the environmental assessment. FY17 would be approving plans, specifications, and going out for a bid on the design. And then construction would be taking place in FY 2018. So it's, I don't know how to answer your question other than to say that the environmental assessment we're doing for this project
Applies to
is for this project.
Right, gotcha, okay, all right.
And so it'll last through those fiscal years.
And what are we short on 5,000? 250 or 5,000?
Of around 400 feet.
Okay.
It's a little, quite frankly, it's a little less than 400.
Okay, I was just curious about it.
Yeah, because we've got like 4,635 feet, I want to say.
Okay,
It's an oddball figure.
okay.
Does that answer your question,
For
Claire?
number 6,
Okay.
for number 7, I guess I'd like to ask what has changed here. I do sit in on the library board meetings as one of my assignments, so I've been involved now with this for about 3 years. And I guess I'm curious as to what has changed to make us even want to consider this?
I can answer that question. 3 weeks ago, last Sunday, I had a board member from the library board approach me and said, we want to get it on to the next council meeting, that the library board is interested in going back to the county and reinstating the funding from the county, which was $23,000 or $24,204 a year back in 2013. I said, I asked him, I said, is the board is in agreement of this? He said yes, with the exception of one board member, and he said he's in agreement, but he said they want assurance from the Lamar City Council to go ahead and apply for this. And the reason that they wanted to have the city council totally behind them, because, and I have no idea where this come from, but the library board of directors felt that they were caught in between. And he said, this is the reason we're gonna do it. So I said, okay. I said, we'll try and get it on the next council meeting. We come back, and I visited with Scott, I visited with Jason on it, and Jason, or whoever wrote up the D7, Plymouth County funding, apparently was worded a little bit wrong, and I'll apologize for that mistake. And it was come back that on Thursday morning, I believe it was. No, I'll take that back. I was over and personally talked to Cheryl, your library manager over there, and shared with her that this was going to be on the council and the reasons why. And I didn't think anything more about it. And Thursday night, I started getting emails from Jason, and I see it went to Scott, that they were all upset the way that was written. They've never voted on it. And they had talked to the board of directors and all this and that. I got back on it personally Friday morning. And I called the board member, and I went out to his house. He called me back, and I finally went through this, and he was sharing with me they felt like they were caught in between, and they wanted the council approval to go ahead with this funding or not. And so I finally said, well, he said it's worded wrong. I said, okay, that's fine. You tell me how you want it worded. And that's exactly what you got on the new one. I went back over to Cheryl after that, and I told her exactly what had happened, and she was all aware of it. And I said, now here's the new one. I want you to read it. And there was another board member in there at the time, and he read it, and we were very comfortable with it, the way it's stated. Now, the staff recommends the council to support the Public Library Board decision. That's the staff. You guys can make a decision whether you want to do this or not. And the way that'll read is, the motion encouraging Lamar's Public Library Board to resume or to renew, to apply for the additional funding from the Plymouth County Supervisors.
Okay, now, what you haven't done is answer my question.
What the hell more do you want me to answer?
What has changed? 2 years ago, 3 years ago, we fought through this council meeting after council meeting after council meeting. And we talked about Lamar's citizens paying $40 for their library services and everybody else getting the benefit. The comment was made that we were going to do our own thing, which I fully support. Plymouth County has their own reasons for doing what they do and how they fund, and I'm not jabbing Plymouth County Board of Supervisors. But they give $9.50 per person in this county. The state average is $16.50. The state average is $16.50. We fall 75th out of 99 counties in the Plymouth County's contribution. And we said we're going to do our own thing. And we've barely given it a chance. Number two, whatever board member you're referring to, it's not his decision. That is why it's a board. And I've sat in, and Steve Wick has sat in on many of those meetings. Have you heard overwhelming support for taking those dollars back?
All I have heard is that they want our support.
On whichever decision they make.
Right.
But do
That's
they
right.
want the money back? Because I ironically see that Shirley's not here and none of the board's here. That's not by accident. If their name is ever on this page, you got 2 or 3 library board members and the director here. And I see they're not here. I'm guessing that's by design. But
No, it is.
I want to know what
I wanna
has changed.
interrupt.
I want to know what has changed from 2 years ago when we fought through this. Not a darn thing has changed.
Can I add a question to that also? The big sticking point that I felt when we had all these discussions was the fact that we have e-books and a lot of electronic stuff over there.
lot of
And the
technology.
county wanted to put that in the new contract, that we had to include that in our statistics. However, none of the other libraries seem to have that.
That's right.
So now, what are we signing there? Are we signing one that's going to commit all of our e-books to everybody in the county again? That's my question. If we're doing that, I'm dead set against it.
I am too. We fought too long and hard about it. I thank you, Kim.
Just because there's a couple bullies up at the courthouse doesn't mean that we have to buckle under and follow the leader. If you want to do anything, I'd be in favor of hiring a mediator to step in between the two groups and mediate this thing and make it just.
I sat down and made an equitable statistic of the populations of these towns. And I'll tell you what, it infuriates me the way the calculations are, because honestly, we should be getting no less than $37,000 up to $56,000 based on population of the 5 cities in this county that the county is responsible for funding. And we're getting screwed. And so we're going dumpster diving for 24 grand.
Well, when they wanted to build a communication center in jail, they didn't go around and pay every city in the county, make them pay the same amount. They looked at statistics, they looked at the numbers, they looked at the valuable facts, and they spent a lot of time doing it, and they proportioned it out probably properly. And obviously, we have more need, we paid more.
Absolutely.
And as far as I'm concerned, the same type of a thought process needs to take place so that we know what we're paying for and what our taxpayers are paying for.
I agree. Sorry for interrupting if I did, those are my comments.
Well, it kind of stirred me up. I was kind of surly today anyhow, so.
Well, good enough. I thought you were feeling good. I would honestly like to pull 7 and be voted on separately, so if you want a motion for consent items 1 through 6.
I'll second that. You're making a motion 1 through 6?
1 through 6, consent items 1 through 6 to be approved.
Is there a second on that?
I did.
Okay, there's motion been made and second on the consent items, number 1 through 6. All those in favor say aye. What?
Roll
Oh,
call.
you got a roll call?
There's a resolution on 6.
Oh, you're right, I'm sorry. That's a roll call, Bev.
Knapp?
Yep.
Wick?
Yes.
Rexbro?
Yes.
Goodchild?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Consent item number 7, I make a motion not encouraging them to go back to the county at this point.
At point of order, I don't think you can
No.
do that. You have to
No.
do the motion the way we accepted it, and it can be voted down.
Or,
Okay, I
No, it's, it reads,
Or change it.
Or we could just leave it and say we're not voting on it.
Can we do that?
no.
Yeah, well,
You can, but that ain't gonna resolve the problem.
I understand, but it doesn't sound like the problem's getting resolved today. Does it? I don't know if we want a 3-2 vote either for or 3-2 vote against.
But is there an issue letting the library board decide?
And
They
that's,
don't want to decide. I mean, that I agree. I do believe they feel caught. I do believe they feel caught. Why? I can't answer that.
I couldn't either,
But
Clark.
to be honest with you, they are unwilling to make a decision. They want us to be the bullies.
If we delay on this till the next meeting and ask the board to attend, then their presence or their non-presence will identify the issue.
I think that's not a bad idea. I do think there becomes a funding issue because
Because of September, did
there's a deadline for when they gotta do it. So basically.
And it's in September,
Yep, so we're done for this year. If this
And
goes on the table.
What's the deadline date?
September.
Thought it was before the next meeting.
I wanna say the 15th, but I
I wanna
could
say
be
the
wrong.
17th
The
for some reason,
17th.
but-
I know it's right
I
in
don't know
there.
specifically the answer, but I think it's before the 20th, because it
That's-
either had to be this meeting or it would be
That's right.
late.
Right.
Isn't that right, Dick?
Yep, you're exactly right.
And not knowing where they're coming from, if they're just worried about $24,000 less in their budget, and I think that's a lot of it, I say too bad at this point. They're the ones that brought the issue to us. And when we get down to the idea of fairness, and again, I would suggest some type of mediation. I don't know if you do that through the state or how you set it up, but we've got 2 different governments that have a complete different thinking.
You're 100% right, but I think they are exercising their right to fund at whatever rate their budget allows them. So truthfully, Ken, I'd like to say I agree with you, but I think you've got 2 entities that aren't gonna come together. And I think one of the reasons we had 2 years ago was we had a 96% of the budget being told what we could and couldn't do by 4% of the budget. And I think we're forgetting all the work and the energy that even you did, Delon, put into this thing.
I can go back 8
And
years
we
when
got
this
out
thing
for a
started.
reason.
Yeah.
Do we know what kind of dollars we're getting from people outside the city that are paying?
Yes, it's 4,000, we're roughly right at 100 people who have paid $40 for those extra services.
So $4,000.
What I have suggested in the past and why is go to Craig, go to Struble, go to Owens and say, we'll give you a discount. We will, because the one thing we need to understand is those people are also stopping at Hy-Vee and at Walmart and at Russ Western Shed when they're in town and they're buying gas and they're bringing their kids to school. So I think some sort of a discount should be offered, but I'm not in favor of going back to the county. Period. They do not have a fair distribution plan. That's it. They can keep the 24 grand. So I say we nix this until next year. If we want to discuss it by then, fine.
You get ready for, and I'm just throwing this out, but to get ready for the budget next year on the library, how are you gonna handle it?
How do we handle it this year?
Yeah.
We cut 'em.
We cut them.
And they live.
And now you want to know why they feel
and they
between a
live
rock
by
and a hard place?
No.
You just said it. That's why they feel between a rock and a hard place. How many departments did we cut last year?
No,
I believe it was one. I think it was the library. I basically think we cut one. And it magically happened to be about the same amount they were refusing from the county. You answered why they feel between a rock and a hard place.
Well, that final cut, perhaps they were being, but there was several cuts way ahead of that.
Okay, I'll give you that, Scott. I don't remember, but I do know the library got nixed.
Yeah, that was on the very final.
And I think
Decision.
from the requested increase to the final cut, I think it was 13,000.
So what if they applied and got different numbers? Got 37,000 like you're suggesting? Would you be happy about that or still be upset because they didn't apply?
I'm not gonna be upset. I've always told the library board sitting right there, whatever you guys decide, I may disagree with, but I'm gonna go with. That's why they're a board. But to answer your question, Rex, I think we've tried to go to the county. Starting back with John and Delana and Dick.
I'm not denying
And I
that.
mean, I've done this whole population thing.
Well, there was half a dozen of them and
And it's-
they were
it's-
all higher for us than the one they used.
Right.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, if I make this motion and then it gets turned down, we're saying that we don't want them to apply. It doesn't say that we're not gonna accept it, we're just not gonna apply. So can we make the motion to apply, or would you still turn it down, even if they got
Well,
some?
the way it
If
reads,
we-
the way it
if we
reads.
made a motion that we don't really want them to, they can still apply.
Yeah, there's nothing stopping
There's
them.
nothing
No.
stopping
They
them.
ain't
No,
gonna do it.
No, I don't think.
Can we
yeah.
make a motion that they applied with based on population distribution?
That's what I'm asking. I'm asking if
But I
there's
think
some way.
that we've tried that.
Well, I understand, and all I'm trying to do is not slam the door on my fingers yet. I want to slam the door, but I don't want to get my fingers or toes in it. And I guess, the county's got more money, that they should obviously see the benefit of giving it to us. We can see the benefit, but that doesn't mean that they'll do that. I'm just wondering if applying doesn't have the stain that just saying, no, we're not even going to apply. I don't know. I'm just asking.
And that's the way this was written. Motion encouraging the Lamar's Public Library Board, Lamar's Public Library Board, to resume or renew to apply for the additional funding of the Plymouth County Supervisors. In other words, you-
Somebody make the motion, we'll get it voted one way or the other.
But you're saying the additional funding at $24,000?
No,
No, there's no dollars in it.
It doesn't say that.
There's not a bit of.
It just says apply for
All
additional
they're
funding.
asking,
Okay.
all they're
That's,
asking,
that's why I'm asking the question, John.
Okay.
It doesn't say that we're gonna limit either high or low. All it says is you're gonna apply.
there's no dollars. All they want to
And then if
know,
they
The motion should make it clear to the library board.
it's up to them.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's not limiting us to 24,000.
Oh,
No,
no, there's no dollars involved.
Okay.
We're gonna.
It's just for them to apply. If they want to apply, they got to do it. For this next year, they got to do it by either September 15th or 17th.
But they are applying under the current Plymouth County offering.
That's right,
So it's 24,000
unless they raise it.
unless
And it also-
County's raised it since
They've raised,
2013.
they've raised it
it's
$5,000.
a year, I know.
And it also includes all the
Yeah, I
stuff
understand.
that
I
nobody else
understand.
has.
We're not gonna make everybody happy here.
this.
But all I'm asking is, can we encourage them to apply?
No,
Okay.
no.
I'll make a motion encouraging the Lamar's Public Library Board to resume or renew to apply for additional funding from Plymouth County supervisors.
And
Is there a
I'll-
second?
I'll second with the understanding that we're not talking an amount, we're talking. for
No, there's no
apply.
amount.
All right.
The amount's
Okay.
already been set.
No, it hasn't.
No, it hasn't. Not for this next
Not for
year.
the upcoming budget year, it has not been set.
Right.
Okay, we got a motion encouraging the Lamar's Public Library Board to resume or to renew, to apply for the additional funding from the Plymouth County Board of Supervisors.
And that's gonna be a roll call vote.
I
Because
know.
we wanna make sure it's right.
That's right. And I want that on a roll call vote. Bev?
Okay. Nelson,
No.
Wick,
Yes.
Goodchild,
No.
Knapp,
Yes.
Rex-Minko.
Yes.
So it passed, right?
Yep.
Now, it's up to them, Clark. I mean, the ball's in their court, so they can do what they want to. I mean, whether they want to do it or whether they don't.
You're right. So thanks for hearing me out on that.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you. Okay, moving on to the next one, the action items. First one is a Vision Iowa grant application. The Vision Iowa grant application will include the following CBP project, two projects. First one is the Municipal Park Ponds and Campground for the tune of $600,000. The Municipal Park Shelter House for $250,000. The Olson Culture Event Center for $250,000. The Skateboard Park for $400,000. The Dog Park for $175,000. The Extended Recreation Trail North and South for $190,000. The Plywood Trail for $1 million. Lamar's Area YMCA Indoor-Outdoor Pool Enhancement, $2,200,000, and the BMX track for $40,000, to the total of $5,105,000. The Vision Iowa grant application is due in Des Moines on September 15, 2016. A resolution of support is required by the City Council and will be available at the meeting. Do we have that, Scott?
You have the draft attached. Christie,
Okay, yeah, we've got,
Joe, do you have a new one?
okay, and there was Simcoe working on this. And the administration recommends that the council approval. The financial impact request is for $612,000 grant from Vision Iowa. Okay, which one of you guys want to share this with us?
Good afternoon, Council, and I'm from Simcoe. My name is Gabriel Appiah, and I came with my colleague Joe. And we are applying the grant for the Iowa Vision program for the Lamar's Betterment program for the second half. And this time we are applying for all the projects, but I think last time when I was talking to my colleague Kevin, something came up concerning all the projects, concerning the trails, the Plywood Trail, and the Royal Theater, and also the extension of the, is it from the north to the south trail. We're thinking that if the trail goes beyond the city limits, Simcoe can't apply for grant for those projects, because I think they said the county has to agree on the trail with the city before Simcoe can apply for grant for those trail projects.
So you're talking item, or the sixth bullet and the seventh bullet, which is extend the rec trail north and south and the Plywood Trail.
Sure, yeah, I'm talking about those two
And
projects.
so those would be scratched off of this, okay.
Yeah, and I think the last time, Scott also said we can't apply for the Royal number 3 theater. So we're thinking of also taking that project out.
Yeah, that was not listed.
That isn't even on
That
there.
was not on there.
Okay,
And
yeah.
then I would take exception with extending the rec trail south is wholly within the city limits.
Right.
So that one does not have to be deleted.
Okay.
And the county has nothing to say about that.
County has nothing to say.
What about North
My
Scott?
memory serves me right, we received federal funding in FY '18 for the South Trail extension to the tune of, I don't have all that information in front of me, $360,000 on a $450,000 project. Therefore, of the 190 that's listed there, if you are going to take out the north segment, the 190 should go to 90. Everybody with me?
Yep.
The plywood trail is outside, so the whole million would have to come off.
Okay.
I'd still recommend your approval.
Yep.
And
With those changes.
And with, and these figures sound like a lot, but this is a total estimate that we're going for. And we're requesting 612 now, right? Am I right, Scott?
And Dick, that's a little bit of a shot in the dark. I've received it from 3 different sources now that AIDA, who is the ruling authority under Vision Iowa, and then their subcommittee that rules on such matters, that they are only funding about 12%.
Okay.
So that's where that came from. It's really recognizing what the state will fund and don't ask for something that they will not fund. And that's somewhat consistent the way it was in 2000, I want to say we went down there in 2003 or 2004 on that first go-around, and we applied for over 2 times the amount of money that we actually received. And we did that because we didn't pay attention to what they were funding versus what they won't fund. And this time, I think we should apply for what we believe they can fund.
So will your 600,000 then be
Yep.
reduced?
Yep.
because you're-
480 or something like that.
Yeah, we'll have to redo that math.
About 480.
480.
Yep, in that range.
I make a motion adopting resolution number 16-34, supporting and authorizing the submittal of the City of Lamar's Community Betterment Project to Vision Iowa grant application for the list shown above, modifying the Extend Direct Trail to the south only for $90,000 and eliminating the plywood trail at $1 million.
Second.
Motion made and second, adopting resolution number 16-34, supporting and authorizing the submittal of the City of Lamar's Community Betterment Project to Vision Iowa grant application, modifying the extension trail north to $90,000 and eliminating the plywood trail for $1 million. Do we have roll call on that, Beth?
Nelson,
Yes.
Rexbro,
Yes.
Clark, Goodchild,
That's the second time
What?
today, but I'll go with it anyway.
You got her attention, you got her
Yes.
attention, I'll tell you that.
Yes.
Okay, motion passed. Moving on to number 2 under the action items is stop signs. The construction of both 14th Avenue Southeast and 14th Street Southwest is complete. Both are in need of stop signs. One stop sign is needed on the 14th Avenue Southeast at the intersection with 12th Street Southeast, and one stop sign is needed on 14th Street Southwest at the intersection of 6th Avenue Southwest. Questions from anybody on these? If not, I'd entertain a motion. Wow.
Adopting resolution number 16-35, adding 1 stop sign on 14th Avenue Southeast at the intersection of 12th Street Southeast and 1 on 14th Avenue Southwest at the intersection with 6th Avenue Southwest.
Second.
Motion made and second, adopting resolution number 16-35, adding 1 stop sign on 14th Avenue Southeast at the intersection of 12th Street Southeast and 1 on 14th Street Southwest at the intersection with 6th Avenue Southwest. Do we have a roll call on that, Bev?
Goodchild,
Oh, yeah.
Knapp,
Come on, Rex.
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Rexico?
Yes.
Yes.
Motion
That was
carried.
tough. That was tough. We didn't move from somewhere else. Now you gotta find me something to look up.
New area, Rex.
Couple of tough swallows.
I could tell Rex was doing some heavy thinking on that one. All right. Moving on to discussion. John?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Clark?
On Highway 75, coming in from the north across the Floyd River Bridge, changes from 45 to 35. That 35 is not visible at all. It's hidden behind a tree.
Okay.
No big deal, just I think we
No,
need to be fair.
Yeah.
Also coming onto Highway 75 north, Business 75 north from 4th Street northwest. If you look to the south, there is basically a volunteer and/or dying tree that blocks a lot of vision. You gotta get your nose a long ways out onto 75 to see by that. So those two, I just wanted to mention.
Okay, thanks, Clark, for calling our attention to it. Anything else? Steve?
Playing in the Labor Day tournament yesterday, we had one large tree snap in half and fall right across the fairway. Number 11. It was impressive, let me tell you.
Really?
Yeah, it's a big one.
Anything else?
No.
Rex? Ken?
Only to say that this councilman's kind of had it up to here with these fires that people are allowed to burn, and I think at some point we're going to have to reach a solution to it. I personally have been fighting with two different neighbors who smoke up the neighborhood all the time. And it's really difficult because somebody starts up a fire and they throw leaves and grass and wet material on. It smokes up a storm, and by the time you get a call to wake up the chief, which I woke you up one afternoon, but whatever, there isn't a quick number that you can get a hold of. There isn't a quick number that you can get a hold of, and it's not an emergency, but it's downright annoying to have your house filled with smoke and walk over and see the guy standing there pitching wet leaves on the fire. We had conversation, and I know you dropped off a leaflet at his door. He denies ever getting that. He says the landlord gave him permission to burn it. And I've had it to the point where I'd like to see all these recreational fireplaces go away. If anybody else is having the problems we're having, it's gonna be a nightmare this fall. We're gonna have the whole town smoked up. Just my comment. I said I was surly today, and that's what made me that way.
You look younger, you've been out to that festival
Yeah.
too long. We do have an ordinance in place for residential fire pits. Those are one thing that are not regulated by Iowa code when it comes to burn bans or anything else, because people are allowed to have their fire pits and their barbecues yet. We do have a nuisance ordinance with that, though, that if it is a complaint-based thing and it's found to be legit, they have to put it out. Now, if they're burning the proper material,
Smoke.
then it won't smoke.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we don't allow the burning of yard waste, we don't allow the burning of garbage, we don't allow the burning of tires, things like that. And every year we go through this with a few properties, it seems like we go out and give them a courtesy letter to start with, and then I have to get a little more forceful than that. Some people are slow learners and some aren't, for lack of better terms. But the only thing I can say is call, and we'll go down and we'll deal with it case by case, because that's how we have to do it. Some are legal, some aren't. Some people just are jealous that they, don't have one, and some people are legitimately complaining because it is smoking up their houses. That's up to you folks as a council, if you want to have burning or not. We don't allow any open burning, but we do allow the backyard fire pits, and there's a billion people that have them.
And repeat what you can't do.
You cannot burn garbage. You cannot burn lawn waste, meaning grass clippings, leaves, sticks, and things like that. You can burn wood. You cut wood, and we see that you're not cleaning your yard up when we come down there. The tall tale sign is when the mower's sitting there and your rakes are out and that sort of thing. A residential fire pit is to sit around at night if you want to have a soda pop or whatever and, roast a marshmallow or something like that. You have to have it in an approved fire pit, and it has to have a screen on the top. We've got a few of them that are like burn barrels.
What?
Can't have those, okay? The wind has to be under 20 miles an hour, and you have to be 10 foot from anything combustible that will burn. Meaning it can't be right on the deck, it can't be on a second floor deck, it can't be next to your garage or your house. It has to have 10 foot of clearance.
So an approved fire pit is what again?
An approved fire pit is a ring or a pit that's made for that with a screen on the top that allows basically a 3 foot by 2 foot high fire. So the size of this room out here is not a fire pit.
And Dave, quote, the regs you're quoting come from, does it come from the landlord?
The regs come from our city ordinance and the fire.
Thank
code.
you.
Okay, so
A landlord cannot
give you permission to burn.
give you permission to do that kind of thing.
I-
It's either, it
It's
is,
in our code ordinance.
it's either in the ordinance or it's not.
I guess I have one question.
Yeah.
Why are we issuing warnings? I know it's a courtesy, but if it's not picky and if it's not catching on.
Usually we give everybody one shot because we do have people that just don't read the paper,
If
listen to the
that's
radio, or
legitimate.
know, or they move to town.
That's
You don't get a
legitimate.
second warning.
You
You
know-
don't use- If you're doing something illegal, you're not getting a second.
Right, right.
You get the initial warning, because usually what happens is they comply, we put it out right where we're there, it's over and done with.
Right.
But, no, we're not going into where you get 10 warnings or something like that
Right.
crazy, no.
Right.
But I'll tell you, a lot of
So
people.
what's the, Dave, what's the penalty?
It's in the city code, so then you get a fine and a citation.
Did I answer your question,
By the
Ken?
fire chief or the police. chief.
I answered it, but I don't think it's gonna go away. I just,
Well, I mean,
let's face it, you're not gonna punish it, you're not gonna punish a whole town, because you got 2 or 3 people out there violating. it.
you would if the 2 or 3 of them were right at your
No,
door.
no, I think I'd look at other solutions.
Yeah.
but-
And I could.
I think I'll get-
The last one,
You guys can just stay here the rest of the day.
The last one, I was not in town, so when I was sleeping in the afternoon, I had my assistant chief put out a
Yeah.
deal with that one.
Yeah.
I wasn't in town,
Yeah, I
so,
know.
but I will take another look at it. I saw everybody perk up because I very rarely sleep, so I will try to get down there.
Thanks a lot for that, Chief. Appreciate it.
I think I probably should ask the police, if I take a bucket of water with me the next time and put the fire out, am I trespassing?
Go for it. Go.
Good, because that's what's gonna happen.
Okay, moving on. Anything else, Ken?
No,
That's enough
far too
today?
much.
Okay. Scott?
Just want to bring up a couple of things that are kind of already on your agenda. The fall cleanup days are next week, the 12th through the 17th. So there's a flyer out there. I'm not going to repeat the flyer right here and now, but there are flyers out there as to what can be brought out. It's 1,000 pounds, and it's done on an amnesty basis. So you haul it to the landfill, and the city will pick up the cost of the disposal only, not the hauling, just the disposal. So that's the 12th through the 17th. And our next comprehensive plan meeting for the public facilities is up at the convention center next week, Tuesday on the 13th at 5:15. We'd love to have a bunch of people there to help us decide what our public facilities should be.
I concur with that 100%, Scott. I know that we've all worked hard on trying to get the citizens involved of where we're going in the next 5 or 10 years, and the ones we've had attended by have helped us in regard to their thoughts, and so we really encourage you, if you can, be in attendance at that meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made, second adjourned. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Well, this was an interesting meeting.
Like an elevator up on
Absolutely. You want to come down to Scott's office and I'll tell you what we got going.